And we'll start with Minister George Papanastasiou,
Yes.
Minister of Energy, Commerce and Industry in Cyprus, who has already contributed 2 or 3 times to this discussion.
Yes. Thank you very much, John. It's 2 happy faces, so we hope that they will remain happy until the end of this conversation. I would suggest that instead of me reading my speech and going through my speech, I suggest that we have an interactive session, if I may, John. And through the conversation, I would like to receive some questions, and please stop me if something doesn't make sense or if something needs to be corrected, based on the logic that we will be providing. I would like to thank John Adril for joining me on this panel. Certainly, John is an important part of what we will show later on, and I will leave it to that John to explain why he is important.
Please, do you want to explain?
Before we go to this map, I would like to say a few words around energy in Cyprus. Electricity in Cyprus is very expensive. I can tell you that the number currently is 35 euro cents per kilowatt hour. This is what the consumer is paying at the moment. This is not sustainable. It cannot provide any solutions to the economy. And certainly the economy is suffering because of this single source of energy that is very expensive. So any economy that doesn't have cheap energy to support it, the economy, it will be only short-term and opportunistic. We as a government, we want to have a longer term. We want an economy that it is sustainable. Therefore, we need to start creating those, let's say, that platform that provides the support of a sustainable economy. Now, the destination is not exactly what you see there. The destination is green. That is what we have agreed with the European Union. We will promote green energy, coming from renewables. Certainly, this is what we are doing. The grid is suffering. It cannot, let's say, provide any support to what is being produced from renewables. So going forward, certain investments, they have to be made, and this is why we are talking in this this event, is we need to create storage, for that power generation coming from renewables. If I may explain what is the grid like, it's an old grid, electricity grid I'm talking in Cyprus now. On one side, we have the conventional generation, power generation. On the other side, we have the consumers. And suddenly, we decided that we are going to put renewables sitting all over the place in the grid. This is not the right way forward unless you first prepare the grid to accommodate that, let's say, power generation sitting everywhere on the grid, in the grid. So one potential investment is storage. And the storage can be chemical storage, for example, batteries. It can be any other form of storage, which can be from renewables, green hydrogen. It can be even blue hydrogen if it's coming from natural gas. Now, coming to gas. The natural gas which sits in the neighborhood is, of course, a product which is transitional. In order to have renewables and reaching the destination, you need to go via the transition. And this transition is provided by this fuel, which is called natural gas. We are in a process of reducing our emissions in power generation. Certainly, this product reduces our emissions. The footprint of emissions in Cyprus is on the very high side versus equivalent countries in the European Union. This is not, again, sustainable. Just to give you the magnitude of what is the cost of emissions in Cyprus to the consumer, this year may reach 300 million. 300 million for a population of less than 1 million. So you understand that unless we do something to reduce that footprint, and this is not coming only from power generation, it's coming also from transport and other sources of that contribute to the emissions. But power generation is one of the contributors on the high side of emissions. So moving to natural gas, what is happening in the neighborhood is what you see on this map. The country, you recognize Cyprus, I guess. So it has an exclusive economic zone. We have neighboring countries, which is starting from the east is Israel, and we have on the south Egypt. And of course, we have Turkey in the north. I will touch on Turkey in order to answer some of the statements of Lord Hani. But I will leave that last, and if we have the time. The infrastructure, you can see it. I mean, the countries that they have infrastructure for moving natural gas is Egypt and Israel. But you see that Egypt is by far more progressed. It's a lot of infrastructure, connecting a lot of discoveries. Certain of this infrastructure, they have names. You can see it's the TEMSA, which is an infrastructure, it's a system of infrastructure that moves gas from the discoveries into Egypt, and the same for WDDM, which is again a system of infrastructure which is subsea that gets the product from the discoveries into the country. The country in Egypt, they have 2 liquefaction plants, which is Damietta and Idku. There you can liquefy the gas and reach the markets that they are after LNG, liquefied natural gas. If we go to Israel, you can see that there are some good discoveries, Leviathan, Tamar, Karish. It's a country that entered the industry of natural gas later on. Egypt, it was by far earlier. That's why you see all this development of infrastructure. However, in terms of quantities, Israel, as we speak, have more quantities than Egypt. So you understand that the development of infrastructure in the East Med is very important for the way forward. Cyprus has no infrastructure. We have a few discoveries, and you can see which are the names of the multinationals that they are, let's say, in the exploration in the exclusive economic zone of Cyprus. And all of them are known names. However, without infrastructure, you cannot move any of these discoveries anywhere. I mean, you cannot get them into commercialization. You cannot develop unless you have the infrastructure and you get to a destination that you will either liquefy the gas in order to reach the markets of Europe, that they are too thirsty, as you know, because of the Russian invasion into Ukraine, because of the energy crisis. So you understand that if Cyprus has an aspiration to move in becoming a place of a contributor for Europe or other markets, either with liquefied gas or with gas in gaseous form, we need infrastructure that is not there. So we will be considering going forward in investing in infrastructure or supporting investors in order to get into investments that they will connect some of these discoveries or connect the grids of Egypt and or Israel with Cyprus and potentially reaching the markets via Cyprus. Now, for the question if Cyprus will ever become a hub, I will be realistic. A hub is not a place where the discoveries sit. A hub for me is a place where the infrastructure is. So you understand that we are lacking a little bit. So to be realistic, Cyprus will not become a hub, but it can become a contributor towards what Europe is interested for. And this is the product which is called natural gas. Now, having said all this, John, you will explain, I think, how the reputable ExxonMobil will assist to meet these aspirations of Cyprus. And I will be on the panel, whatever other questions you may have, unless you have any questions, immediate ones, just raise your hand now, or you will have to be silent until the end. Thank you.